Mm. Hello. Automation. You know, I'm gonna be real with you, crossover. Completely forgot they do those because I don't really watch them. I'm gonna be honest with you. Anyways, how are you doing? That's good. So, yeah. Hopefully I will finish up this tier list today. Got pretty far into it. There's still a giant slab to go through. Alright, which one do I want to start with? You know what? Let's start with Mr. Krabs vs. Scrooge. This matchup is very funny. I like it. It's the funny money idea, as they would call it. I would probably put it in the goated tier. Oh, there's a delay on my mic. Hang on. Interesting. Okay, how does this sound now? Does it sound better? Because I might have had the compressor on the filter too low. Been thinking of another mythology match. That's interesting. Crossover. Never thought about that. Oh, okay, so I forgot I had Gene versus Raven on here. So I might have to I'll make a new tier real quick. Yeah, I might add that to the actual template when I'm done with this. Okay, let's see. What was the one I was gonna pick up? I guess we'll talk about this one. Thrall versus General. It was a Gaskell from Warhammer. It is Orc Generals, magic versus technology type angle, which sounds cool. I wish though it had a chance of happening, like just as a episode. Cause man, Warhammer will isn't getting on ever. Jean vs. Raven, I sleep. I only care about it because I want Raven to die after she killed Twilight. Lol. Man, she's probably not. She's probably gonna win the episode crossover, which is a shame. I like Raven, but I don't think she should win. In all honesty, it's the same reason I have for like Vader losing to Obito, which by the way, fucking called it, peeps. But yeah, oh, here's the one I wanted to grab. This one is Monster Legends versus Dragon City. I am doing good, dude with the tube. I woke up an hour ago. I got my salad, my gamer subs, and my water. And I'm doing great. How about you? Yeah, what was I? Oh yeah, Monster Legends versus Dragon City. This is a really fun idea. Oh, hi Origin. How you doing? The real question is if Ben versus Jay in the chat match was on the list. It is not. I personally am not a fan of Ben versus Jaden, so I didn't really make a thumbnail for it. I guess I can. Okay, we'll do Squirrel Girl versus Sandy because this one just got they just did a community death battle on it. This is actually this is probably the best Squirrel Girl matchup. And it ends the same way as Aquaman versus Namor, with Sandy being... Oh no. Joke's on you, Origin. My information's already out there. Anyway. Yeah, Sandy versus Squirrel Girl is just Aquaman versus Namor, and it ends the same way with Squirrel Girl taking control of Sandy and then getting mauled by other squirrels. Since we got the Raven matchup coming out, let's talk about the duel. Let's talk about the two Painbot ideas I have on here. Jailbot versus Painbot is really funny, but I would say it's not my most favorite matchup. I'd probably put it in neutral. I like Super Jail, and I was kind of like, Jailbot and Painbot kind of have kind of similar to each other. And then a friend of mine brought up Painbot fighting an army of Daleks, and it sounds awesome. No Griffith versus Karate Kid. Yeah, exactly. I think Painbot actually wins too, which is very hilarious. But since someone brought up Karate Kid, we'll do Jack versus the Karate Kid. Anyone remember Kicking It? This match is pretty based, I'm not gonna lie. Oh yeah, do I have Griffith versus... Did we do Griffith versus Pinhead already? It would be in G, right? Gigantosaurus. Oh, here it is. So Griffith versus Pinhead is basically an original versus the inspired type matchup, in the God Hand and the Cenobites being very similar to each other in a sort of otherworldly type manner. Basically, both the God Hand, I think you can describe, from what I remember. It's been a while since I've actually read Berserk, so take it with a grain of salt. But what I remember is them offering humans the powers of God in some way, shape, or form for sacrificing their humanity. It's in a similar vein to the Cenobites, where they offer pleasure and pain with the cost of their humanity. And again, the Cenobites and the God Hand, or the Cenobites directly inspired the creation of the God Hand itself. I think if Griffith does more shit, then I'll probably like him more, but for right now, I think it's kind of just neutral. I like Pinhead versus Calypso more, which I don't think I have a thumbnail for on here. I should make one after the stream. Ami versus Amaterasu, or Dante versus Amaterasu, is kind of just a vibe matchup. I like. It just makes for a cool fight. That's about it. Okay, Dan versus Genka goes in absolutely goated. This is like just something like this. The Dan versus Genka is one of my favorite ideas. Hello, Mr. Gravity, sir. Dan versus Genka is such a cool matchup for no reason other than it's Bakugan fighting Beyblade. And I was just rewatching Bakugan, and it is great. I want it on the show. Yeah, Origin. So the list, so top here is my top 10. It really hasn't changed much. There is one matchup that got dropped out of it, and that was Bullseye versus Deadshot. I still like Bullseye versus Deadshot, but I think I like New versus Reaper a lot more. Yeah, Luigi versus Pac-Man's a good idea, but I will say I like Pac-Man versus Felix the Cat too. Oh yeah, I think I had Jean Grey versus Phoenix Icky on here. Yeah, here we go. This is my favorite Phoenix idea. I actually like this matchup quite a bit. There's really not a good Icky idea. And I don't really like Jean versus Raven. I think it's boring. And, you know, Saint Seiya matchups are always wanted. So I think that this just kind of vibes, in my opinion. I mean, I get why people don't like it to an extent, because it usually has to deal with just people not vibing with it, which is fine. You know what I mean? But I don't think it's a bad idea. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Raven's ideas. Oh boy, looky here, it's the funny matchup, the funny Xeno Goku versus Archie Sonic, which I'm gonna be honest with you, kind of just there. Do I think that's all I'm saying about it? Anyway, I want Death Battle to do more Dragon Ball. I think that. Okay, so I think that Thor vs Vegeta is the best Dragon Ball episode of that season. My biggest problem with season 9 was that they oversaturated the fuck out of it with Dragon Ball. With all the variety they had 3 Dragon Ball ideas on there, and it felt like way too much. From what I hear, Twilight versus Raven isn't a bad matchup. It's just a bad episode. From what I specifically remember of the Raven matchups. Saber versus Captain Britain. Saber versus Captain Britain is, I'm trying to remember what Captain Britain was. I think Captain Britain, from what I remember, he kind of just goes across. Yo, it's my boy Red Runner. How have you been? It's mainly, I think it's like... Honestly, I can't remember Felix vs. Pac-Man specifics. I would probably ask Adam on it because he's the one who brought it up to me. He might have a better origin river here too, so that's cool. The gang's all here. But anyway, I'm not here. Origin is not real. He's like the birds. They're all holograms. But Saber versus Britain is basically, I'm trying to remember. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think the thing with Britain versus Saber, I'm trying to remember what Britain's whole gimmick was. I'm double checking. I think his whole thing is doesn't he get reincarnated quite a bit? Is that the main thing? Because I remember there being multiple versions of him. I'm completely brain farting. Either way, I find it really funny. So I am putting in goated. Yeah, no, I think Raven vs. Twilight is just kind of existing, like as an episode. It's not bad, but it's just kind of there. And I think the way people reacted to it was just completely blown out of proportion. My Little Pony aside here, we're real quick. TMNT versus Ninjago. I don't think this one needs a lot of explanation. It's just fucking goated. Oh yeah, here's another Fate matchup. Frieza versus Gilgamesh. Okay. I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought it was funny because a friend of mine brought up the whole we cooking. Indeed. He simply just said monkeys versus mongrels, and I immediately thought it was funny, so I made a thumbnail for it. I'm very just think the matchup is just kind of there. I don't really care about it. I just thought it was funny for that one interaction. Darkrai versus Phantasma, cool idea. I like Darkrai. Phantasma's a cool Mario villain. Goated. Actually, what else we got here? Okay. A little bit of a hot take with this one. I'm trying to find... I know I have Mickey versus Bugs on here. I'm trying to find it. Alright. Alright, while I look for that, I'll give my thoughts on Vader versus Obito. Vader versus Obito. Man, what a really disappointing episode here it is. Before I go over that, little hot take on this one. I think Bugs versus Mickey is alright, but Donald versus Daffy's superior to it. But anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, Vader vs. Obito. I was super pumped for it. I thought that the preview looked really good, and it was until we got past everything they showed from Magfest, with Vader absorbing the tailed beast bomb, and immediately it started to go downhill. because after that, nothing interesting happens whatsoever. It's literally just Vader standing there doing nothing as Obito is just fucking flying around and whatnot, and it's just... I'm sitting there thinking to myself, where are the unique force power interactions? Where is, like... It really was underwhelming. That's the word I would describe it. And I think that it escalated too quickly for any hype to be there. Like, he pulled the tail beast bomb out way too early, in my opinion. He should have just waited to do it. And I think that it also... It suffers because one of the biggest problems, too, I have with it is with the death. You see, the death is cool. It's a cool concept. But it gets ruined when you have Obito kill him with a big-ass sword. Somehow, and by the way, I would like to say this right now, somehow this death is worse than his his death from Doom. At least getting crushed by a rock and burning alive in lava was fitting. This just felt really rushed as an idea. And that's how I would describe the episode itself. Overwhelming and extremely rushed, because Vader's analysis felt way, way too scrambled. Like, it was just going back and forth between stuff, instead of just having, like, a concrete motion with its story. It was really mid, honestly, yeah. And, yeah, no, David V, I do agree, Vader should have won the episode. And a lot of their arguments for Obito, I would say, are very outdated. It almost feels like the script was written 2 years in advance, and then they memory holded it. And they're just like, okay, let's finally do this now. Oh, nice, Ben. It's sad, too, because this is one of the episodes I was looking forward to the most. And it was completely mediocre, and it's an episode I don't really care for. In all honesty, I think Obi-Wan vs. Kakashi is straight up the better version of this episode in every way. Which is a shame, too, because, you know, I like Vader. I think he's cool, and I like Obito. He's one of the few Naruto characters that I actually care about. That is so true. Gravity. That is 100% true. But, yeah, that's my general thought, and then the next time is a fucking snoozer. Like, Jane vs. Raven is fucking boring. And I'm about to go 3 for 3 on my predictability tier list. Raven will win the next episode based on my same viewpoint on why I think Vader was gonna lose to Obito. Anyway, Rain vs. Zabuza. Speaking of Naruto, I want to talk about this one because this one is fucking cool. I love this matchup. Rain is a cool-ass Mortal Kombat character, and Zabuza is epic. Is the first Naruto villain. He's just really cool. You know, Rain Ninja is really Water Ninjas is really all you need for it. So, yeah, I think it's cool. It's really funny, too, because Rain, I think, just stomps now. Especially if you use the Mortal Kombat scaling. Oh, we got a Vader matchup up here, too. Vader vs. Garmadon is pretty alright. I'm neutral on it. Yeah, no, I think the concept of the death is cool, but it's not really handled well. I think the best way they could have handled the death was having Vader basically on the ground, on death's door, and the Infinite Tsukuyomi activates. So then the last few moments that he's alive, he gets to be with Padme, rather than having Obito directly kill him. Vader has to just accept that it's happening. And also, Vader should have used way more of his force abilities in the episode. There were so many force abilities that they could have used with Obito's powers, and they just didn't do that. And I just realized this, like, they didn't use Force Maelstrom. They didn't use, like, Force Rage, Force Scream, like, any of those cool abilities that Vader has. They didn't even have Vader get his soul ripped out. Which is a damn shame. We still got a couple Naruto ideas left. Itachi, and then obviously... Okay, hold on. I saw Jaws. Someone bring up Jaws. This is Jaws versus I believe Maneater from that one game with the shark. I think that the Ninja Storm model is really cool. Is a really good looking model, in my opinion, Red. But I think it just doesn't look good with the Battlefront 2 model they used. They should have used the Fortnite model. Hello, Andrew. Who would Itachi fight? Itachi would probably fight, Sesshomaru, yeah. I think I actually ranked it on here. It might be in the, absolutely goated. No wait, did I put it in God tier? I'll find it. Okay. I'm gonna get this out of the way. I think Zuko versus Cinder kind of poo-poo doo-doo, bad matchup. Moving on. Yeah, I don't know why they're so hesitant on using Fortnite models. Fortnite models look like the best type of models they can use. Well, I might as well just go pick a random one. Plankton matchups. Yeah, sure. Why not? We got 2 Plankton ideas on here. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think I'm not really the biggest fan of Mr. Mind versus Plankton. I think it's kind of Kaguya matchup. No, Sakura. Clearly, they're gonna do Sakura versus Rukia. Clearly, it's the best matchup for both. Oh yeah. I think I had Garo versus Kenpachi on here. Garo versus Kenpachi. It was on here. Where is it? Unless I ranked it already. Where the fuck is it? Well, there's Itachi versus Byakuya. It's kind of there. Maybe I didn't rank it and I just can't find it. Alright, whatever. Oh, wait. I do have a Kenpachi ID on here. It's Lubu from Record of Ragnarok, which is cool. I like it. I want Record of Ragnarok as an idea. And before I move on, my favorite idea for Plankton is Nefarious, because it's the only option I've seen that can use Plankton's mechs and whatnot, like all his robots. So true, Darth. No, clearly Garo is the superior option. You blind, my good sir. I went to college. Death. Oh, okay, oh yeah, Kenpachi versus Mifune from Soul Eater. This is kind of just existing for me. That's really all I'm gonna say about it. Armstrong versus Valentine, because I saw someone ask about that. This is I like this Armstrong idea. It's good. It's a good Armstrong matchup. I don't like it as much as Doomfist anymore. I've kind of fallen out of the major hype to it, but I do like it. It's a cool matchup, cool idea. It's just a little weird fight-wise. Alright, fine. We'll do Nora versus the Goon because Darth asked for it. I don't know much about the Goon, but from what I've seen is Spider Noir versus the Goon sounds really cool. But I would probably put it in neutral for the time being. Wolf versus Scorpion? Yeah, okay, sure. I made that noise so much. I might as well be a fucking villager at this point. Alright, hold on. We're doing... I need to put this... This is going in the god tier. Malcolm versus Ghostface. Oh, we got the Pizza Tower music playing in the background. I gotta add more music to the playlist I have on YouTube. Anywho. Oh, here's Wolf versus Scorpion. That is a good idea. I probably should put that in there. Wolf vs. Scorpion's cool. Again, I don't really have much investment in it, but it is a good matchup. And I would like to see more Souls-like games on the show. Which is why... Which is... Which is why I thought I have this on here. Talion versus the Tarnished from Elden Ring. I really like this matchup. I'm being honest. Don't like Tarnished versus Link at all. I don't think it's an interesting idea. And I think Link versus Cloud was the best overall option. The question versus answer is so funny because it doesn't even work as a fight. But it's funny because of the name to it. A major stomp for Tarnish too. I'm not sure on the stomp part, but Tarnish probably does like AP stomp. But we have Pete's Tower music. I'll talk about this. Peppino versus the Noid. Come on, this is too perfect of an idea. You have a pizza mascot that is known for destroying pizzas versus Peppino, whose whole gimmick or whose whole story revolves around killing a sentient pizza monster. That's too good. Funky monkey idea. This is Bobo Haha versus Bobo Haha versus Hit Monkey. This is an idea I really like. It's funny as fuck. You're gonna have to explain Freddy Fazbear's the weirdest. Origin, do you not know about... Where is it? Where is it? No, we need to talk about it. Where is it? Where the... Okay, here it is. Origin, this is... Hello, Matthew Gibbs. This is the animatronics versus the artifacts from Night at the Museum. That is... which is, it sounds awesome. Yes, it's all the artifacts versus all the animatronics from Five Nights at Freddy's. Cyber was the one who came up with this idea originally, and it's fucking great. I love it. No, Foxy runs down the hall, and he runs into the Gum Gum statue. Ben Stiller versus surfing the alligator. Shut up. I don't know why that became such a meme. Okay, a lot on here. I forgot the burn. Ah, shit! I wanted to talk about this one. I'll do it now. For those who are wondering who that's supposed to be Leonidas versus Janimba. Leonidas is from, for those who are don't know, is from Bakugan. He's a game exclusive character in the original timeline, but in the new timeline for Battle Planet, he actually is a character in it. By the way, don't watch the new shit. It fucking sucks. Old Bakugan superior. I only used the newer model because that's the only good image I could find of him, of Leonidas. Anyway, you got two beings who were born from quote unquote evil beings, born from sort of doomed dimensions, basically. And it's a Leonidas idea that I don't hate, and I vibe with that, so you know. Yeah, this is the only, since alright, Ivan brought this up, or Invincible did. Ivan versus Soda Popinski. This is the only time I will actually accept a Punch-Out versus Rocky character. Yeah. Let's do a bit of a... Let's do some lightning rounds here. Okay. Heimdall versus Poseidon. They just really don't like mortal. They hate mortals. That's kind of the main gist of it. Oh, did they? That's cool. I'll look it up later. Question versus answer. Alright, outside of like a funny joke, this matchup kind of sucks. So I have no choice but to put it in the low tier. Arthras versus Vader. This is another cool matchup for Vader, and I think that it vibes really well. Yuji versus Denji. Man, that really fell off hard in terms of what it is, or as a matchup. So, and to be honest, I'm not really the biggest biggest carer about it. Zamasu versus Hades, same. I get the connections to it, but I don't really care about Zamasu on the show. And overall, I think that Hades has a better matchup with Lusamon from Digimon. Yeah, because Jujutsu Kaisen. Okay, Toma versus Milo Murphy is really funny because all it is just guys with bad luck. Guys who have the worst luck imaginable, but yet somehow still get out of the most ridiculous of scenarios, despite their luck. Uh, Jujutsu Kaisen spoilers, Origin. I don't want to say. I don't really care about spoilers, but I know some people do, and I'd rather not get the boo boo, the yelled at because I say something. No, don't no, dude on the tube. Don't do that to Hades. Do not feed him to DC's Grim Reaper. Like, do not fucking do that. That was weird. I don't know why my music stopped. I'm so mad not Milo stomps Danganronpa. Cat vs. Ichigo. Get this one out of the way too. This is a good matchup. Okay, I want to talk about this. This is one I just recently came up with. This is Groudon versus Epigursus from Monster Legends. He's one of the monsters from there. And his whole deal is, he was created, Epigursus' whole deal is that he was originally called a monster called Igursus. And basically, here, let me show you. So originally he looked like this. This was his original monster design. And then he basically evolved in a way and became this monster, a mythical monster called Epigursus. Very fitting name, by the way. And his whole deal is that he's just a living volcano. And that immediately clicked into my head, like, man, you put him against Groudon, that sounds kind of raw. He's also considered one of the tallest monsters, so he's basically a kaiju. Yeah, Krakatoa. Johnson, what's really funny about that is that he has a move called Krakatoa. And it burns and slows down enemies. Okay. Since I saw this earlier. Killer Bean versus Hitmonkey. I'm pretty neutral on. Kind of there. Yeah, he's got one called Krakatoa, another one called Pompey's Fall. I don't remember the other ones, but he's got a lot of fun stuff you can use in a fight setting. Oh, here's Hades versus Lucimon. This is the good Hades matchup, in my opinion. Darth, if you're gonna bring up how I still have Hulk versus Atrocitus at the top, I'm not fucking removing it. Darth, I swear to God, we're not doing this here. No, no, and no. You know what? Just for that, Darth. You're in timeout. Go sit in the corner for what you done. Anyway. Jessica versus Robbie is kind of existing. Death. Jessica versus Robbie's just kind of existing for me. I don't have a strong liking or disliking to it. Same with Dick Dastardly versus Speed Racer. Dom versus Speed Racer superior. Sora versus LeBron James. Oh. Just gonna stick this here, and we're gonna move on from that. I forgot that existed. Yeah, I forgot it was on this tier list too, but then I remembered, oh yeah, I do kind of like that idea to an extent. Crocodile versus Sandman is very cool. It's the best Sandman matchup in my opinion. And I want more One Piece on the show. I find it funny that is people debate it when it really isn't up for debate. LeBron just kind of stomps. Okay. Solomon versus Abomination is kind of existing. I'm just going through here real quick to see what matchups I would probably put in the bottom. Okay. Thor versus Superman is interesting as a debate. Outside of that, it's just kind of there. We did those in the last stream, so I had Plastic Man, Captain Marvelous, and Toriko. Toriko was at the top here. Marvelous was in here somewhere. What was it? Marvelous, and then no, Captain Marvelous and Plastic Man were in the same tier as each other. They're in based. Who's fighting Death the Kid? That is Stark from Bleach. And it just kind of sounded cool, but I'm very neutral. Don't really have an opinion on it. Basically, Stark is a. I don't want to. Let's just say he's got a gun that, a partner who transforms into a pistol. That's basically one of the things within it. It is. There's over 600 on here, and I continue to add to it. Yes, this is every matchup on my DeviantArt put into one big-ass tier list. And I continue to add to it every time I make a thumbnail. Yeah, Vaughn vs. Magna Defender, from what I've heard, is pretty cool. I would put it in debased. Oh yeah, Lloyd vs. Spy was something that a friend of mine asked to make a thumbnail for, and I thought it was neat at the time, but now I'm just kind of like, eh. I think it's it's not the weakest Spy matchup. I think it's like existing. Okay, Zeus versus Odin, the mythology-based one. Zeus versus Odin is pretty neat, but it's not my favorite mythology idea. Oh yeah, Nikola Tesla versus a Kamen Rider build. That is my favorite Tesla idea. I have a couple Record of Ragnarok ideas on here. Alright, this is the only time you're gonna hear me pray or actually say something positive about BlazBlue. But I actually like Raiden versus Azrael. It's two dude because you can have both of them go all out on each other. Yes, Red, I did not stutter. That is how you say it. Any other BlazBlue? Yeah, that's the only one. That is the only idea I like for Blaze Blue. But to be fair, the reason I made it was because I thought it was interesting at some. I like the matchup at some point, or I know it's gonna happen. Like for example, Koro Sensei versus Monokuma is most definitely gonna happen at some point, and the same with Chaos versus Kyogre, which is why I made those thumbnails. It's preparation, you could say, and the same with Fall Guys versus Among Us. So. Darth, what the fuck is that emote? Yeah, Jaggy versus Melina. Pretty neutral on. I don't really care for Melina matchups. I think most of them are just kind of there. Roger versus Bender is very funny. Alright, Over Heaven Dio versus Infinity Ultron. It's a JoJo idea, and it sounds pretty cool, all things considered. No, I don't have Sly versus Rouge on here. That matchup, I've always disliked that matchup. It sounded so goo goo gaga gross. Yeah, I am aware of the event going on in the DVD, Red. I'm disappointed with the TF2 one. Greatly. Yes. Anyway, I'm not getting into that, but, okay. While I'm talking about Mortal Kombat, Jax versus Barrett is an interesting matchup. Originally, it was kind of originally this might have been a stomp, or a huge stomp. With the Mortal Kombat buffs, it might actually be genuinely fair, and that's cool. Jax versus Barrett is like the best matchup for both, and it just vibes so hard. Here's who you think wins the TF2 Battle Royale. Like, equal stats or regular? Actually, I guess it doesn't matter, because the only thing equal stats does is just make soldiers' buff banners completely useless. In terms of the TF2 Royale, Pyro or Soldier should just relatively win. It's between those two, because Soldier has the highest damage output of all of the mercenaries. Yeah, they scale to each other anyway, so it doesn't even matter in that point. Pyro or Soldier. Soldier's damage is fucking ridiculous. He has long-range weapons too, and stat boosting options. Pyro has better utility items, and he can directly counter Soldier's rockets. So that makes him very difficult to actually. Could mean it make it very difficult for him to put down Pyro. Demo, I think, actually gets third, because he is, out of all the other mercenaries, he's actually probably the smartest in terms of battle strategies. And I could see a Demo playing into, like, traps and whatnot. Man, poor Medic, though. Medic gets so fucking... he gets obliterated. Do I have any other TF2? No, we did them all. I forgot. I did them all. Oh, here's Tesla versus Build. This would probably go into the base tier. I want to watch Build at some point, because I heard it's good. Jacko versus Android 21. This is a good... I like this. Is neat, but I'm very neutral. I would say I'm neutral on the matter. The revives and such wouldn't help him actually win. Yeah, no. Because he would just come back and get obliterated. Scout, I think, so it's weird. Scout, I think, probably could last longer than both Spy and Medic. It just depends really on the situation. But I think in terms of the bottom three, it's Medic, Spy, and Scout. And then Sniper, and Heavy, and then Engineer. And then the top three are Pyro, Soldier, and Demo. Okay, Nostalgia Critic versus... Oh, here it is. I like it. This is cool. Nostalgia Critic Squidward versus Angry Big Gamer. It's a classic idea. Not the biggest fan of it anymore, but I think it's past its time. But as an idea, it's cool. Ken versus Aaron is really existing. Oh yeah, Greninja versus Jinbei is just like amphibious. It's just amphibious people or amphibious dudes or amphibious martial artists, so to speak. I guess would be the best way to put it. It's a ninja frog versus a karate fish. That's basically what it is, and that's all I need for a Jinbei idea. Genji versus Gino is very interesting because I like it a lot. Why do I have Chrono versus Shiro at the... Okay, as a matchup, it's pretty good. My problem is that it's been completely ruined by how the community has fucking treated it. I do not like... I hate it when people go, oh, they would be friends in this matchup. Or they would just be friends type shit. And Shiro vs. Chrono is kind of the embodiment of that. And I'm just so sick and tired of seeing that. Especially Chrono voice crack. Especially Chrono vs. Shiro, where the main thing is that these two are very violent, supposed to be very violent and ripping each other apart. And then they just go, oh, they'll be friends. Like, what? So, yeah. Anyway, we are moving on. Gino versus, Genji. I think this is actually Genji's second most thematic matchup. Yeah, the two brothers... Darth, don't... Darth, that's a good joke. Yeah, Genji versus Gino is the two brothers of who are a part of a clan, so to speak, who ended up having to fight each other because of their ideals not aligning with each other in some way, shape, or form, which resulted in the potential death of one of them, obviously Genji and Gino, but they come back later on as rebuilt cyborgs to sort of get a revenge, or sort of not get revenge, but rather confront their brother. Okay, Jormungandr versus Apophis is cool. It's a giant snake fight. Apparently though, it might be a scale issue because Apophis might only be about 50 meters long. Okay, I mean, what's up? What do you mean with the Boondocks ideas? Boondocks is cool. Light Weaver versus Poison Ivy I made as a joke because I thought it was funny. But I don't really care about it. I don't like Poison Ivy, and I fucking don't like Light Weaver. He's the shittiest hero they've introduced in the Overwatch. Earthworm Gym matchups. Duck Dodgers versus Earthworm Gym is a matchup. This is a guilty pleasure idea. I will say this, because I think if we do Duck Dodgers, you just do Daffy at that point. But it's a good matchup. It's a good idea. And then you have Crash Nebula, which is just funny. I don't think Darth Vader would resist. So it's weird. Infinite Tsukiyomi probably would work on Vader. The problem is that Obito cannot capitalize on it in any way because Vader resists literally everything Obito has in his arsenal. I do have a death matchup on here, and it's one that I came up with. Ugh. Excuse me. Death. Where? Oh, here it is. So this is the matchup I have for death. This is Omen. That is Omen from Samurai Jack, or the Omen from Samurai Jack, and he sort of fits the similar bill of what death is in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. He's sort of like, he's a physical embodiment of death and sort of the hero, meant to stalk the hero in terms of their journey, like Jack, basically. Like Jack and Puss, basically. Yeah. I can't talk today. My brain is turning to mush. IR smart. The point is that they're physical embodiments of death who stalk the main hero and are trying to basically force them into doing an action that will some way, shape, or form result in their having them take their life, basically. Brain turning off. No thoughts, head empty. Only thumbnail. But I think it's a death idea, and it sounds cool. Cool enough to where I can work with it. Kenobi versus Kakashi is better than Vader versus Obito. Kano versus Claw. Okay. We'll do that one. Oh, here it is. Kano versus Claw is kind of... It's alright. It's just kind of there for me. Kano versus, Kuroko versus Nightcrawler. Alright, fine. We'll do that one. Kuroko versus Nightcrawler was one that was introduced to me by a friend after I got into Railgun, and it's pretty neat from what I've seen of it. It's a teleporter fight. What else can you say about it? Okay. This one I want to talk about. Ra versus Shiva. I don't know. I don't remember the exact schematics to it, if that's how you use that word, but is Shiva versus Ra is kind of cool. Anyway, no, you're not doing this here, Darth. This is a dangerous phase you're playing with. Okay. Zebra versus Black Bolt is just kind of a... Zebra versus Black Bolt is existing. I'm gonna do another speed run here, just some matchups. Warren versus Bakugo, kind of existing too. I thought it was funny because it's the explodey guys. Jonathan versus Simon is just bad matchup. Same like Grodd versus Winston. Okay, N versus Kaiba, sure. Let's do N versus Kaiba. N versus Kaiba is the better Pokemon versus Yu-Gi-Oh idea in every way, and it's the more thematic one. Yeah, Leon's the better one for Simon, or Leon versus Jonathan is the best matchup for them. Thor versus Susano. Gods of Storm / Light. God of Storms versus that have a rivalry with a big ass snake or serpent-like creature. What else can you say about it? Finn and Jake versus Mordecai and Rigby is hella goated. I'm so happy it was on the poll. It's my... Alright, Rayquaza's ideas, honestly, Bahamut for me is just kind of existing, and Ghidorah is kind of gross. It sucks that it didn't win the poll. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Where is Aizen? Aizen versus Sephiroth. Where the... I think I put it as Sosuke Aizen, so it would be an S. I don't... Wait, do I not have Aizen versus... No, wait. I think we did Aizen versus Sephiroth. It's on here somewhere. If I did have it, it would probably be in one of these two tiers, in based or neutral. Okay, Gru versus Megamind. This is a cool idea. It should happen. It's goated. Not the biggest fan of it, but I think it's a good matchup. Oh, it's next to Kraven. Next to Kraven. Oh, here it is. Aizen versus Sephiroth is pretty neat. It's my favorite for Sephi, or for Aizen, but in terms of Sephiroth ideas, I think Virgil is the best still. Enhanced eyesight. Gara, the Sandy Man. I don't remember the lyrics, but Cole versus Gara's funny, and it's an inside joke. for my friend group. Papa Louie versus Cooking Mama. This is on the same level of peak as Papa Louie versus Pepino. There it is. Thank you, Red. Man, it's been a hot second since we talked about Plants vs. Zombies. Yeah. Piranha Plant vs. Chomper is very goated. Plants vs. Monkeys. It is very funny how this is actually a debatable matchup. I think Cooking Mama does actually have stuff. I know someone brought this up earlier. Vilgax ideas. Wait, do I not have Ridley on? No, wait. I think I did Ridley versus Vilgax. And if I didn't, I'll find it, and if I do, yeah, I guess I did do it already. Anyway, Dominator's kind of Dominator and Megatron are existing. Megatron versus Vilgax, I would have no problem with as long as it's the animated version of Megatron. Hi, Fade. Welcome to the stream. Kenshi versus Kanan is a good Star Wars matchup. I'm just gonna jump around here randomly. Croc versus Leatherhead, or from TMNT. Killer Croc versus Leatherhead from TMNT. What else can I say other than it's a big ass crocodile fighting a big ass crocodile? Enough said. And Etrigan versus Ghost Rider is awesome. I can't find the fight takes place in Florida. It is literally just a property dispute over who gets what land. You darn kid, get off my property. You versus Josuke. This one I'll get over quickly. I like this idea. I think you versus Josuke is a good matchup. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I think that it's a good idea in general. Not as good as the other JoJo ideas, JoJo versus Persona, but you know, it's pretty alright. Oh look, the superior Heroes versus Heroes versus Archie Sonic idea. Scourge versus Turtles is fucking goated. Yes. You're lucky I can't say what I want to say here, Darth. You're lucky. Josuke versus Ichiban fucking sucks. He stole my joke. Oh, hi, Adam. I asked that earlier. What did you ask earlier, Adam? I don't remember. Yeah, me too. good times. Oh, don't. Oh, you want him to be timed out? Oh, by all means, Adam. I'll request your wish. Yeah, it fell off hard. And to be honest with you, I'm glad Spy versus 47 picked up a lot of steam within a short period of time because it got onto the poll. Oh yeah, and speaking of TF2, I have a theory that we might actually get Sarge versus Soldier this year. Because Red versus Blue's last season's coming out, and I could see them doing it as a promotional episode. Yeah, no, I know Spy vs 47 is gonna happen probably next year. But if it won the poll, it would have happened this year. And imagine them. Wait, what do you mean? Oh. I mean, you never know. They might have had the idea of just double dipping on TF2. Anyway, Shazam versus Seiya is so good. Like, it's such a fun matchup. I want a Shazam run back. I like Seiya. He's cool. And I wish Arg. I wish Engineer had a matchup. There is actually a good Engineer matchup. And that is Bentley from Sly Cooper. Yeah, I agree. The dude on the tube. I just realized I have my Guilty Gear music. Ghost? This is Ghost versus Psycho Mantis from Metal Gear. The idea of Psycho Mantis controlling a giant Metal Gear to fight, or the Psycho Mantis fighting Ghost with a giant Metal Gear sounds cool. Though the main gimmick with Ghost is that he can shut down technology. So it's kind of in a weird spot for me. I would probably put this in neutral. Hercules versus Wonder Woman is funny, but it's just I don't really have a strong opinion on it. If I find Rhino versus Agron, I will do it. But yeah, I can't find it. I'll get this out of the way too. Some other ones out of the way. Mewtwo vs Black Orgamon. It's pretty cool. Like it. It's been talked about a lot. A lot of these matches have been talked about, and I'm just kind of breezing through them. Really isn't much I can say about it that hasn't been said. It's kind of the whole deal. The Sarge and Soldier previews you did. Michael, that's what I'm doing. I have that video. I'm working on it right now. Shovel Knight versus Shantae surely was an idea that existed. Next to Bakugo versus Rex. Oh. Oh, here it is. Rhino vs. Aggron is funny. Man, poor Aggron though. Even with Mega Evolution stats, he's getting completely stomped. No, you're good, my dude. Shocker versus Captain Cold. I'm also I'm actually neutral on this. I like Cold, but I'm not really the biggest fan of the biggest fan of it, basically. Oh shit, I forgot I had this. This is Trevor versus, I think it's, what was his name? Oh yeah, Otis B. Driftwood from House of a Thousand Corpses. I thought it was I thought it was funny because it was Steve Ogg versus what was the actor's name who played him? I need to look this up. I completely forgot. Bill Moseley, that's who it was. Bill Moseley versus Stephen Ogg. Meta versus Nemesis. Okay. Where is it? Let's see, Negan, that's N, M, so it might be here. Oh, here it is. Meta versus Nemesis is a bit of a weird one, but it makes some sense, and I think that in general it works well as a fight. Meta's a cool character, and I like Red versus Blue quite a bit. And I just don't vibe with Meta versus Predator. I like Nemesis more for Meta because he fits a similar hulking brute vibe, whose main goal was to hunt down ex-soldiers from a excuse me, from a secret off-the-books government project. Stars and the freelancers. So, you know. And the idea of the griff shot bouncing off of Nemesis' big-ass weapons is also another one that I like. Or another eye-catcher for me. Lord Raptor versus Brooke. Cool idea. I like more One Piece. Give me One Piece. Let's knock out some Indiana Jones ideas. So I got two on here. First one is Cactus McCoy, my goat, the Giga Chad. Honestly, it's pretty cool. The whole treasure hunter vibe for ancient artifacts is neat, though I think Puss in Boots probably fits McCoy better. This is my preferred Indiana Jones idea. It is the guy from The Mummy. I don't remember his... I think his name is... Robert? Nah, I need to look this up. It's bugging me that I can't remember his name, but... It's Rick. Indy versus Rick. That's what it is. And it's the Mummy versus Indiana Jones. It's a vibe idea, basically. Rick O'Connell, yeah. Ahsoka versus Psylocke, kind of bad matchup. Don't care for it. Other than I actually made a really good thumbnail for it. Speaking of bad matchups, Mikey versus Monkey Kid. Specifically Rise TMNT Mikey versus Monkey Kid sounds like just a complete vibe idea. I love it. Kurama versus Inuyasha I'm very neutral on as an idea, and that's funny because I like both franchise or both Inuyasha and Yu Yu Hakusho. But I don't really have much to say on the ideas. Spear versus Pickle is completely goated. It's a brute force caveman fight, and for some reason Primal gives off. Primal has fights that are very similar to Baki in a way. Like the extreme, like, body horror type shit. Very violent. Vlad versus the Scare is cool. It's a ghost fight, not really anything else there. Law versus Bruno, man, this really did not age well. I wish Law versus Bruno worked, because it's decent enough to where I'd actually like it, but holy fuck, Law just nukes him on sight. It's also a scale issue. Kirito ideas. There is one more Kirito matchup on here. Where is it? Here it is. Alright, boys, Alright, boys, we're going over Tilted Tower. Where are we dropping, boys? I think we're dropping in absolute god tier. And then, anyone remember Tenkai Knights? Anyone remember their childhood? It's pretty cool, too. I think the only one he doesn't stomp in is Neo, where he might actually win, and that's awful. I hate that. Which is my good thing Neo vs Kirito not a good matchup. Which is Neo versus Flynn is a matchup. For those who don't know, he is from Tron. He's the main character of Tron. And a Tron versus Matrix idea just sounds really cool. Killmonger ideas. Okay, so originally, Sishio, I think it's his name, versus Killmonger was a big matchup. It was pretty popular. Problem is, and then people realized that, and it has some thematics to it, but it's not really good fight-wise, because apparently people found out he has a symbiote, and he's actually a herald. He's Herald tier. So then Black Manta came back, and it turns out Black Manta versus Killmonger is actually pretty good. And I kind of like it. Okay, I'll talk about this one. Lena Inverse versus Dark Schneider. I already said that I like Etrigan versus Schneider, but this is a good ult. It's the classic. Yeah, no, it's just a hater mentality matchup. What was I saying before? Oh yeah, Lena versus Dark Schneider. Good idea. Speaking of magic, Kamek versus Death. Best henchman that you can ask for. Also, Kamek, best dad in Mario. Don't quote me on that. Let's post some more here. Showdown versus Ana, I don't care about its existing. Same with Rogue Squadron versus Star Fox. Piccolo versus Magus goes in the same tier. Spinal versus Savantas I'm very neutral on. It makes for a cool pirate fight, but then there's also I like Sir Daniel versus Spinal more. Because it's the funny skeleton matchup. Sebastian versus Walter is very neutral on as well. It's a butler fight. So there's not much else to say about that one. Okay. Mammoth Mogul versus Vandal Savage. I'm so mad that these guys just had the same backstory. And it might actually be debatable. But Mammoth Mogul is fucking goated. If you're gonna do Archie, do an Archie character. Alright, we got the Metal Gear music on. Let's go with Solidus versus Bradley now. Where's that at? I just saw it. We're getting close, guys. We're getting down to, like, being able to fit them on the screen. Very slowly, but surely. Silver Surfer versus the Black Racer is existing. Not much else there. Okay, Spawn versus Jackie. Estacado. Jackie versus Spawn, I'd say, is the best Spawn matchup in period. It basically takes all of Spawn's other ideas and compresses them into one character who fits every bill you want in it. It's got good banter, good power interactions. It can be an army fight if you want to, or a horde fight if you want to. And Jackie could very easily bounce off of all of Spawn's magic and guns very easily. On this, never, I can't. I said I would keep betting. Freddy versus Sully. Very funny idea of having Sully fight Glamrock Freddy. It is, it's about as goated as Freakazoid versus The Mask. This is just a really good matchup. I don't know what else to say about it other than a Toon Force fight. Yes, Sundowner got like the best theme in Metal Gear. Rising. Oh, here's Solid vs. Bradley. Solid vs. Bradley, from what I'm not too invested in it, but it is based. Oh yeah, Big Rigs versus Speedrunner Mario. Dead meme, but still based. That's fair. Dinosaur fight. Gigantosaurus versus the Devil Joe. Ark versus Monster Hunter. It's literally two dinosaurs you don't want to show up. They are two big-ass dinosaurs that you don't want to run into at all costs because they will fuck your shit up. That's how I view this. Ego versus Mogo is literally just the headbutt fight of all headbutt. It is literally just the universe's strongest headbutt of all time. And that is awesome. The Nicktoons the Nicktoons Superhero Battle Royale. This has the Crimson Chin, Powder Toast Man. I don't remember the guy from Rocco's Modern Life, Ultra Lord, Brain Freeze, and Mermaid Man and Miracle Boy. Can you get... or Mantarctica, that's what his name is. And I don't... What else is there to say other than it's Nicktoons, all of Nicktoons' superheroes fighting each other? Ren and Stimpy versus the two stupid dogs. Alright, Negan versus Billy is very neutral as an idea. It vibes if you just use Show Billy, but not the biggest liker or hater of it. It exists. Joseph matchups. Joseph versus Shikamaru is the best matchup for Joseph, and it's a great idea. And Joseph versus Usopp is also very good. They are both very good matchups. I think Joseph versus Usopp is just the better version of Law versus Bruno. I prefer Speedwagon versus Kung Lao. If I'm gonna pick a Kung Lao matchup for him, but at the same time, I don't really like it. It's a funny joke idea. Don't get me wrong, it's a funny joke, but as a matchup itself, it's not very good. Okay. Yujiro versus Akuma. This is an oldie matchup, but a good one at that, and it's actually pretty good as a Yujiro idea. The whole idea of these two these two martial artists, or two dudes who take martial arts extremely seriously, who mainly travel the globe beating the shit out of people, who believe to be practitioner of the art, so to speak. Do have a Seth matchup on here. Taskmaster versus Seth. This I believe to be the superior version of Cap versus Guile, basically. As an idea, it vibes really hard as a matchup. You know, the two dudes who can copy anyone's abilities and use them for themselves just by looking at it is just a cool dynamic. So there's not much else to say there. Dracula versus Myotismon. You know, I'm not very there with it, this matchup, so I'm just gonna put that in neutral. Dr. Wello versus Dr. Weil is basically an excuse to get Janimba versus Omega. Yeah, that was a joke. That was actually the joke in the episode, in the video, Johnson. Another neutral Marvel versus DC idea. I used to really like Manhunter versus Silver Surfer, but I'm just kind of like drifted away with it. Yo, no way, it's fucking Goku. Kenya versus Quicksilver, very funny, but it's just kind of there. Norman Osborn versus Xanatos. Pretty peak idea. Oh my god, we're far, we're so close. Bruno has another match, or Law has another idea with Obito, which is funny. Waluigi vs. Robbie Rotten. I like it still. It's base. Tokuger versus the Super Train Megazord. It's just a train fight. What more can I say? Kiryu versus Shizuo. Okay. This is probably the best. Where? Where did I put it? Or where? Here it is. Kiryu versus Shizuo is probably my favorite for Kiryu because it actually bounces off of his personality, or bounces off Kiryu decently well. Shizuo does. So I'd probably put it in goated. Han versus Shrek is funny. That's all I'm saying about that one. And Han vs. Kirk is based. Pen Zero versus Jonesy. Pen Zero versus Jonesy would work if Pen could actually switch between his different forms. Zoro versus Robin Hood is also very cool, but I don't have much opinion on it. Frost versus Kylo Ren. I'm so mad that Frost probably stomps Kylo, even with Legends material. Spike versus Revy. Spike versus Revy is always a matchup I've wanted for years. I really wish they've done it sooner. And it's just sad that it's kind of past its time, so to speak. I'm aware of the scaling, but I think in general, everyone's scaling to one another is perfectly fine. Because they're all treated pretty much equally the same as threats. And the scaling chain is kind of, while it seems wonky at first, it makes sense when you do like a deep dive into it. Kraven versus Kyber is the best Kraven matchup. It's basically take Predator and make it cooler. Yeah, no, they've shown interest in wanting to do it too, and they just haven't done it yet. Same with Kenshin. Speaking of which, Kenshin matchups. I like both of these. Kenshin versus Hanzo and Kenshin versus Mugen are both really good. Oh, the Chaos matchup? Yeah. So the Chaos matchup is... the Chaos matchup is Rita Repulsa from Power Rangers. A friend of mine brought it up to me, and I thought it was cool. I think Scorpion versus Wolf is the best Scorpion matchup. Alright, Rayman versus Klonoa. Rayman versus Klonoa... Wait, where did I drop it? Rayman vs. Klonoa is just kind of existing. I don't care about it. Echo versus Arya. Very funny idea, but very neutral on it. Ant vs. Diva is very funny, and I still like it as a matchup. Don't worry, Johnson. Rayman will be back in a year. Shinra versus Galo. Shinra vs. Galo is awesome. My favorite season 10 episode is Stitch vs. Rocket. Close, tied for second and third is Dovahkiin vs. Chosen Undead and Ant-Man vs. Adam. Gyro vs. Kamina is awesome. Reinhardt versus Poppy. It's so funny how Reinhardt towers over Poppy and he still fucking dies. Oh, here's the superior Simon matchup. Simon versus Arthur. I really like the idea of Arthur and Simon's arsenals clashing with each other. I know it's a complete wash for Simon, but at the same time, it is a cool way to do the matchup. Kruger versus Wolf is also very cool. It's my favorite probably for solo rangers. Man, that term legacy has been completely dead for me. Okay, let's get this one out. Anna versus Charla, I think is what her name is, from Xenoblade. Medics who heal with sniper rifle. It's kind of all there is to it. I just thought it was neat. We're almost there, people. Getsus versus Endeavor, somewhat thematic. Problem is it's weird-ass fight dynamic. Captain Atom versus Sentry is very neat, but I'm neutral on it. Epsilon versus Ramantra, I'm also neutral. We're gonna do a little bit of a lightning round here to get some of these out of the way. Same way. Jin versus Mista, neutral. Frax versus Robot, neutral. Tarzan versus Spears, pretty eh. Raph versus Kane. Where's Raph versus Kane at? Oh, here it is. Raph versus Kane is very good matchup. Very good. Worst thumbnail? Macho Man versus Kool-Aid Man, probably. Swamp Thing versus Man Thing is awesome. It is one of the best Marvel versus DC matchups, in my opinion. Cars vs. Miram. I love Cars. I'm so happy we might actually get this in the future. Because Miram's pretty neat. Rex versus Bakugo, neutral. Starscream versus Metalface, neutral. We got a lot of neutral matchups on here coming up, so I'm getting them out of the way. Thing versus the Thing versus the Imposter is kind of there. I don't care about LA spoiler or I don't care about Ellie versus Clementine as an idea. Yeah, no, John Carpenter's The Thing is a good movie. Frankie versus Cyborg. It just kind of vibes. It's the same with Funky versus Frankie, but it's... I was gonna say less of a stomp, but it's about the same. Enel versus Raiden is... Or Raiden versus Enel is funny, because it's lightning guys. And I wanted a Enel idea, or a Raiden idea and an Enel idea. I'm like, oh, well, you can just put two together. Problem solved. Isaac versus Poochie is, like, there. I don't really care about Poochie ideas. Anti-Monitor versus Anti-Monitor versus Galactus is really cool. Like, as a Galactus alt, it is very, very neat. And I say it as like an alt option. I'm gonna be real. US Agent versus Peacemaker kind of suck. Or Peacemaker sucks. Favorite thumbnail I've made? There's a couple different ones, but I'm not sure if I can pin down a specific thumbnail. Gas versus Driftflim. Yeah, it goes in based. Bling Bling Boy versus Gideon. Absolutely goated. as I bling bling boy. Okay. Gozer versus King Boo is yeah, this Gozer versus King Boo. Not much to say about that. Ike versus Siegfried is very existing. Billy versus Stain is kind of eh. Okay, the Liberty City Trio versus the Los Santos Trinity wouldn't be good if it wasn't for it already being a canon thing to an extent. Sarabella versus Mystique Sonia, neutral. I like Hero 108, but I don't know much about Skullgirls, so I can't really give too much on that. Q-Rex versus Grimlock. It's dinosaur that transform into robot. That would be funny if it as a matchup. Gwen vs. Haruko is just existing. Hanayama versus E Honda is based. Wait, is that Jar Jar versus Yara? Misa solo Bleach. I know some people are gonna question what this is, so let's do this one. This is the Xenomorphs versus Metroids. It's the Xenomorph Queen versus the Metroid Queen, basically. It scratches that itch. Thrag versus Zod. They're just the same character. And Omni, it would basically just be the reverse of Omni versus Homelander in a sense. Include Moon for what? Zero versus Android 16. It has the similar vibe as Pluto does, but Pluto just kind of matches better fight-wise. Misheard. Oh. Oh. Yeah, you know, you're thinking of the Necromorphs versus the Flood from Halo. Alright, you ready to see a good Jack Kamen matchup that isn't Travis? Jack Kamen versus Marcus Phoenix from Gears of War. It's a fucking chainsaw fight. Which is based. Kumagawa versus Accelerator. This is just kind of funny. And I wanted to see how their powers would interact. That's all I was thinking of with that. Hercules versus... Or Hercule Satan versus the Brown Ranger. Or the Brown Ninja. Hexit versus Pollution Man. Got some Star Wars. We still got a couple Star Wars ideas on here still. This is HK-47 versus V1 from Ultra Kill. Yeah, these assassin droids basically, who are basically wake up randomly, looking for their main purpose and function, so to speak. And I think that a cool gunfight with them would be cool. Picard versus Thrawn. Thrawn is awesome. And a strategy ship fight would be cool. Yeah, so, Red, that is Ami versus Crypto. I kind of like it as a matchup. I don't really care about underdog. And I like Amaterasu. I want a good Ami idea. The only other one I can think of is the only one I can think of is Arceus, but even then, Arceus versus Aslan. Yeah. I mean, Arceus versus Ami is a good idea thematically. You know, the god of all gods, so to speak, and the ability to use basically any of those abilities of their own, basically. Tremor. What's this Bionicle's name? I don't remember. Tremor versus... Hold on, chat. I'm looking up. Pohatu. Pohatu versus Tremor. It's just... I mean, that's fair, Red. But Tremor versus Pohatu, it's Earth. Geomancers, basically. That's all you really need from me. And I like Tremor. Tremor goated. Bring my boy back, please. Saul Goodman versus Phoenix Wright's existing. Red Skull versus Cobra Commander is cool because Cobra Commander stops. Who's Mysterio fighting? Mysterio is fighting Mirror Master from DC. And I think that's actually pretty cool. It's my preferred for Mysterio. Mysterio. Speaking of Marvel's DC, Captain Carrot versus Spider-Ham. Captain Carrot. It's really funny. One of my friends came up with this, and it vibes hard. It is goated. Okay, we're gonna pretend this is Jake, or not. This is Edward versus Legoshi, and we're gonna put this in neutral. Yeah, Freddy Krueger. I still like Freddy versus Scarecrow. Call it a guilty pleasure. Engine versus Whizpig. I love Diddy Kong Racing. I love Whizpig. I wish he appeared in more games. But he doesn't. Shiver versus Splinter's cool. No real huge feelings towards it, but it's neat. Alright, this is my preferred for John Wick. Robert McCall from The Equalizer. There's a whole video about how the movies are basically the same. And that's kind of what turned me on to the idea of Robert versus John. We're almost there. Kim versus Sam. Pretty goated. Kingpin versus Hanayama. I've said I love Baki and I love Kingpin. The other Diablo matchup on here? Oh yeah, so this is Mr. Negative from Marvel. And surprisingly, it works decently well as a fight, so... And Mr. Negative stops, so... You know, Diablo dies. This is Dark Void versus Frieza, and I'm putting this in neutral. No real huge opinions towards it. I don't really care for Frieza matches, but if I had to pick one, that would probably be it. Pain versus Penance is pretty much the same. I know some people like it, but... Wait. Oh, whoops. Second, I thought I went back on accident. I pressed the side button on my mouse. And I thought I left the page and I was gonna... Soldier Boy versus Peacemaker is pretty good. I'm probably gonna put it here. If I reset, I would lose my shit. I'm actually gonna go through this after the stream and organize it a bit. Zenyatta versus Dhalsim unironically goes really hard as an idea. And I love Zenyatta. And I hate that people in the Overwatch community fucking say he's broken, and it's like, he ain't broken, you're just dog water. Show versus Mace is... It's alright. It's got decent connections, but the fight dynamic's a bit weird. But yeah, I don't get why people say Zen is broken. He is not fucking broken. If anything, he's underpowered. I don't remember his name, but he's from the My Hero spinoff. Kinda just existing. Mojo vs. Grodd is very funny. Was very funny, but I think it's only going into the base tier, unfortunately. Psycho Rangers versus the Ginyu Force. The Power Rangers matchup, the end all Power Rangers matchups. He got adjusted recently with his range, with the orb's distance. But even like in a professional game setting, most people are gonna know how to take a Zenyatta down, so it's not really even like that. And even then, Mercy's damage amp should get nerfed then by their own logic, because it's a 30% increase in damage, and she can do it behind a wall. Raz versus Ness is superior to Frisk versus Ness in every way. You can bite me on it. By the way, they recently buffed Soldier again for no reason. They buffed his damage and his fucking range. They made him... I don't know why they keep buffing Soldier. He doesn't need buffs. If anything, Soldier needs nerfs. I forgot I made Red a moderator. Until I saw the wrench pop up. I'm like, oh shit. There he is. There he is. We're running on a matchup, so let's finish this. TF2 scaling god, but I am very well aware, dude. Francis, I am the guy who is advocating for buffs for TF2. This entire community. I'm the guy who's been wanting that shit for years and fighting for it. I am like ground zero for the TF2 buffing. V versus Spider-Punk. This is an idea I saw Liam make a thumbnail for, and then I was just thinking, man, it vibes pretty hard. Francis, it's not large town, it's large island. Yeah, sure. Oogie Boogie versus the Devil. I like Oogie versus the Devil. I know some people don't, but as an idea, it works pretty well. And I like the Devil. Yes, the goated King Shark versus Mount. I hate that this works because it's two Polynesian gods fighting each other. Yeah, the Cow Mangler got like island. I do not have Snatcher versus the Devil on here. I probably put it higher. I like that one too. Shepard versus Star-Lord, I'm very neutral on. It sounds neat, but I don't really know much about about Shepard. I want to go look into Mass Effect at some point. Oh no, it wasn't disintegrating robots. It was disintegrating a singular cow. One cow getting vaporized was on that level. No, quantum disentangle the cow. Yeah. Sanji versus Blaziken is still an idea I like quite a bit. I consider it a guilty pleasure. Also, Kirishima versus Elfman. Elfman is cool. Larry Boy versus Bible Man. You know where this is going. To be fair, Mach 9 to 14 was where it was, or TF2 was before the relativistic stuff got brought up. Pause, Johnson. Anyway. Zangief versus Incineroar is awesome. Gargamel versus Marasmus is funny. But that's about it for Marasmus. Okay, Wu versus Rayleigh is an idea I thought of randomly, and I vibe with it a lot. I mean, Vader is planet. Like, he should realistically be like large planet to potentially star. And the soul form is not even a form he can take naturally. It's something he has to get ripped out of his body in order to do, which is the whole context of that comic. It's a form he spiritually takes on whenever he meditates. Alright, Bernardo, I will raise you one though. Iroh versus Uwe. I'll say this, I'm not a huge fan, as big of a fan as of Medic versus Richtofen anymore, just because I think the fight dynamic is really weird for Medic, especially compared to what Richtofen has in terms of an arsenal. By the way, Bane versus Jack Hanma, I'm probably gonna put in base. It's just two buff druggies fighting each other. Kuma versus Panda. It's just a bear fight. Anyway, I like Heavy versus Nikolai a lot more now. Daisy versus Daisy is awesome. No. No Crazy Dave versus Richtofen. Bad. I'm getting the spray bottle. Cybermen versus the Borg from Star Trek is also pretty neat. Logan versus the Ronin, or the last Ronin. I'm pretty neutral on. Don't really care much about Claus versus Proman. Okay, Devastator versus the Rescue Megazord is just kind of existing too. Not a bad one, but it's just kind of eh. Okay, this is Sharptooth. For those who wondering, this is Sharptooth versus the T-Rex from Jurassic Park. Bruno versus Law it has the worst fight dynamic possible. It's a literal scale issue. Thor versus Battle Beast? Okay. Thor versus Battle Beast, I think as an idea, it's pretty good, all things considered. But I would say I'm pretty neutral on a Thor. Yeah, Francis, I think with heavy ideas, it's either Nikolai or Wrecker from Star Wars. Or from the Star Wars, the Bad Batch. I find it funny that there's a Nova villain who's basically just Battle Beast. Oh yeah, Titan. Yeah, Titan is basically something like Battle Beast. When observation out here, a lot to see Bruno stand. Yes. Most likely. Sigma versus Horizon. I'm fairly neutral on. It's not as good as Graviton. But you know, it's alright. Okuyasu vs Kurabara is fucking goated. That goes in the god tier. Luke Cage versus Super Alloy Darkshine. I still like this. Dudes with impenetrable skin, basically. That's all you really need for it to work. You know Death Battle will do Kaguya versus... They would do that. There is a Jolene matchup I like. It is Mayday Parker. It's basically Jolene with connections. And a lot more stuff to work with. Or Spider-Gwen. It's Spider-Gwen versus Jolene, but with more stuff. So this is Rico Rodriguez versus Ethan Hunt from Mission Impossible. I love Just Cause, and I love the Mission Impossible movies. So we're putting that up there. Megatron versus Megatron versus Char is very cool, and if they, I think if it was done around the same time as Optimus versus Gundam, it probably would be really good. Nowadays, I don't think it's going to be on the same level as that, which is unfortunate because Optimus vs. Gundam is like one of the best episodes they've ever made. I have not seen it yet. I need to watch it. Colt vs. Walnut's pretty neat. So... I'm trying to remember. Trying to remember his name. It's a. What's that guy? I know. I don't remember his name. Hang on, I need to double check. It's Drake. I know it's Draco something, but I don't remember the full name. Let me look real quick. Mei Yin versus Draco. Okay, so it's Mei Yin. Mei Yin is from Ark Survival. And I believe she's going to be, or this person's going to be in the, Draco Bloodfish, yeah. I'm neutral on it. I prefer 47 for a spy. Terminator versus Jack. The Jack 8. It just sounds really cool. I like Jack's new design from Tekken 8. And I'm just thinking to myself, damn, Jack units are kind of similar to Terminators. Okay. Bit of a hot take, but I am very neutral on Simone versus Kyle as an idea. I don't really care much for it. Scorpion from Dante, or versus Dante from Dante's Inferno. Scorpion versus Dante is the same as Wolf, and I would probably put it in the same tier as Wolf. If I find Wolf versus Scorpion, I'll just put it there. Kamina, Gyro. Lizard versus Mesagog. He wants to turn everyone into dinosaurs. I mean, I like Anti-Monitor versus Anti-Spiral. I just also think that Simone vs. Kyle has been talked about so much to where I just kind of don't care about it as much as other people. Let's see. Ark versus Vengex is cool. I'd probably put it in based. I could probably say I dislike it. And then people get mad at me over that shit. Yeah, I am surprised it did not win the poll, to be honest, because I think it should have. Because it would have been a fitting way to get the matchup on the show. Stroheim versus Guile is America versus Germany. Also, Guile was inspired by Stroheim, I believe. Okay, we're almost there, guys. Musashi versus Mihawk. Pretty neutral on. Nia versus Juno. Or Juvia. Is actually really good. Yeah, no, I'm with you, Red. I think that Bill versus Discord was fucking. I think it was a bad idea to put it on the poll, in all honesty, because of the shit that happened within the servers, like the toxicity behind it, which honestly is just really frustrating. And the fact that they said too they don't like. They said they didn't like My Little Pony, they didn't want to do it, but they still did it anyway. I'm very much on the fence of it actually being like a decent episode. It'll probably be fine, all things considered. Yeah, no, I know, Red. It got muted because of how toxic it was getting. And to be honest with you, I say good. I think at this point it's just going to be coping, because Bill is gonna probably win the episode. Yes. Oh yeah. Symbionic Titan versus Mega XR8. This is just a really good matchup. I love Symbionic Titan. I've seen a little. I've only seen a couple clips from Mega XLR, but it seems really cool. Yeah, no, I knew Colex was gonna win the fucking thing, and I'm just like, God damn it. Which is a shame too, because Cole vs. Alex is like the weakest option on that poll. Pretty much every other matchup had some form of uniqueness to it, to where I can't really. Yeah, no, Ray, I get where you're coming from with that. I basically say I think it's the same thought process I had for Vader Obito. It's like, I think Vader should win, but he isn't gonna win the episode. And I think that's the stance a lot of people should be taking towards Death Battle themselves. I really hope it's at least... I'm not gonna have my highs up for it, but man, if it does worse than Misaka versus Killua in terms of views right now, because Misaka versus Killua doesn't have 1 million views yet, that would be really sad. Vesnan versus Shang Tsung, pretty base. Taskmaster versus Kojiro, pretty cool. Honestly, doing the biannual thing is I agree with them doing it biannually. Are lucky to be good. Yeah, no, Devil Artemis, like, his back must be fucking hurting right now from all the carrying he had to do with the 3D team. Because there has not been a good... Okay, hold on. I shouldn't be saying that specifically. I think the 3D team can do good. They just need time and effort put into it. That's the thing. That's why things like Jinx vs. Harley was a really good episode in terms of animation. Very neutral on Mandarin versus Wise Man, pretty based, and then I'm very neutral. Oh my god, guys, we did it, we did it, I did it. The tier list is done. It's done. Look at it in all of its glory. 600 matchups. never do this again. Proceeds to clear history, erasing all my hard work and effort. Oh my god. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Man, okay. Alright. That is done. I will post this to my channel once it's done downloading. But I think for now, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream here. Thank you for watching it and actually sitting through it so much. And thank you, Red, for showing up. It's pretty goated to talk to you again. God damn it. Anyway, yeah, I will see you guys in either the next stream or the next video I post. Goodbye.